Now it's the Badger State. They have joined the ranks of the willfully ignorant. Meet Wisconsin's newly elected state treasurer, Matt Adamczyk. Adamczyk, see, he hates big government so much, he advocated for eliminating his own role. Adamczyk also hates environmental people. He's on record, which is bad for the folks in Wisconsin. On Tuesday, Adamczyk successfully passed a ban which prevents the state's Board of Commissioners of Public Lands from doing any work involving climate change or discussing climate change or even emailing about climate change. Don't talk about it. Well, this will make the board's job of protecting unique natural areas a lot harder, no doubt. Don't expect Governor Scott Walker to step in and make this thing right at all. Walker is a poster child for the GOP's war on science. In fact, Walker has the lead. He's been leading the charge against the Environmental Protection Agency efforts to reduce carbon emissions. Walker signed the Koch brothers' no climate tax pledge. He even tried to slash millions from state-subsidized recycling programs. Congratulations, Wisconsin, a pioneer of anti-worker policies, and now going backwards on climate change. Whereas 97% of the scientists in this country think that it is because of what man is doing. Joining me now on our rapid response panel is Ruth Conniff, editor-in-chief of the Progressive Magazine. Also with us tonight, Wisconsin State Senator Chris Larsen. Ruth, you first. What is the motivation here? What is this about? What's the root of this?
Well, there are two issues. The first is it's a petty vendetta by our Tea Party state treasurer, who, as you point out, is really pretty out there, against Tia Nelson, daughter of the great environmentalist, founder of Earth Day, Senator Nelson from Wisconsin. Basically, to go after her, he tried to fire her. He was overruled by the other members of the State Land Board who defended her. He's been wanting to get rid of her for a while. She is an environmentalist. And he's attacking her for serving on a task force that she was appointed to by the former governor, Jim Doyle, a Democrat, on climate change, and then for talking to the timber industry that is concerned about climate change and invited her to speak to them about how it affects their industry. So these are not firing offenses. That's very clear. And so then he's gone further and said she shouldn't be allowed to speak of climate change, to do any work on climate change, which she hasn't done since she was asked to do so in her official capacity. So it's really a non-issue, but it's about this petty vendetta. And then the other piece is just that across the country, we see these folks, like our state treasurer, Tea Party folks, who are really worked up about the idea that there is such a thing as climate change and are doing their best, as Scott Walker has done, to do things like make it very expensive to use solar energy. We know that Scott Walker is a climate change denier. We know that he's friends with the Koch brothers, and he has pushed to make Wisconsin a less environmentally friendly state. But I think this mostly originates with this one very peculiar individual, our state treasurer.
Senator Larsen, you just can't raise any money admitting that there's climate change. So Walker's not going to be an ally here at all in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the people that are lining his pockets are deniers. So this is pretty obvious. So how much is this going to hurt the state as you see it?
Well, in Wisconsin, we've got timber, we've got agriculture, and we have tourism. Those are our biggest industries, and they depend on us having a reliable climate, and they'll be hurt if climate change is not addressed on a wide scale. So this is going to hurt, and I think he's trying to bury his head in the sand. Walker's trying to do that. Other regressive Republicans are trying to do that. And to be clear, this is not your grandfather's Republican Party. This is the regressive era Republicans who are denying climate change. And not just that, it's not enough for them to just deny it and try and muddy up the science. They don't want even want people talking about this. And I think as they demand silence, it's important for us to speak up, because it's not just a matter of saving trees or something environmental. It's the future of our industry in this state and across the country.
Isn't this a form of intimidation of employees, though? Telling them that they can't even think or talk or email or mention climate change at all? What about that, Senator?
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely.
What do you think, Senator?
Absolutely. It's not just, Ruth mentioned how he's tried to fire her since he came in, and he has actually issued dozens of open records requests. And to be clear, Adamczyk, this may be his first close-up on national spotlight, but the fact is we know him here. He actually worked for Senator Leah Vukmir, who's in line to be the next president of ALEC, who actually denied turning over documents in open records requests to find out what bills they were trying to move forward. So he's using the same process they denied to try and silence somebody in our state. And I think it's important for us to speak up on it. There's actually really great footage of just a month ago where a 7-year-old actually calls Governor Scott Walker to the mat and asks him 2 questions about climate change. I encourage people to check that out and encourage people to continue to speak up on this.
And the response was?
As they demand silence, we need to speak up.
Now, Adamczyk says that climate change isn't part of the board's mission, which is to make money for our beneficiaries. What's your response to that, Ruth?
Well, part of the board's mission, it's the oldest state agency, is to manage these public forest lands and the money from their sale. Many of them were sold off 100 years ago, and they have about $1 billion in their trust, not taxpayer funds, but this is really publicly owned wealth, and they use a lot of it to support public school libraries. So they manage those funds, that trust, and they also manage the lands, and to talk about what's happening to forest lands. I mean, as the senator points out, even industry, the timber industry itself, wants to know what to do about climate change.
Yeah.
So this is completely within a reasonable purview, and to say they should be silenced is preposterous.
All right, Ruth
even the Tea
Conniff?
Party's catching up with this.
Yeah, but say that again?
The Green Tea Coalition.
Yeah.
Even the Tea Party's catching up with this. The Green Tea Coalition, a bunch of people who don't like having it made more expensive for them to generate their own power, is growing across the country. So, the world is moving past all this.
Yeah, if it's clean, it shouldn't cost more, no doubt. Ruth Conniff and State Senator Chris Larsen, good to have you on tonight. Thank you.